Thank you for joining us today as we are highlighting what's new in 2024 for the model yard. But before we get started, we'll give you a little brief description of the model yard. Sporty's has been offering models for several decades, and in August of 2022, we had launched the model yard. And our goal with the model yard was to highlight several models that we offer in a unique perspective. We wanted to do insight and videos, extra images, and a little brief description of the airplanes that we're highlighting. Unlike everyone else, we did not want to just throw a white image on a website and throw it out there and sell it with no context. So now that's why we came up with the idea of creating the model yard. Let me introduce myself. My name is Brandon. I've been with Sporty's for over 20 years, and I've been working with the aviation enthusiast department for over 15 years. I grew up building model cars, and that enthusiasm has transferred over into aviation models. And sitting next to me is my colleague, Nick.
Hello, I'm Nick, and I've been working for Sporty's for about 2 years now. My interest in diecast collectibles kind of stemmed from my early ages where I built a lot of Legos and model kits as well, and then slowly transitioned to enjoying diecast models for their high quality details and features and display stands and everything that make them stand out in a collection of items.
So let's get into what's exciting in 2024 in the model yard. Let me get started with our brand new Piper Cherokee contest that we're actually wrapping up this weekend. As some of you may already know, Sporty's and Gemini Jets over a decade ago introduced the first ever 1/72nd scale diecast 172 model. For years to come, we've always featured aircraft from our flight line here at Sporty's. So last year we opened up a contest to our customers to submit images of their 172s for our next diecast model. So new for 2024, we're introducing the Piper Cherokee 1/72nd scale diecast model. In 2024, we're also offering a wider range of aircraft models, going from just warbirds to more commercial aviation, helicopters, modern day jets, and also international aircraft.
And not only that, beyond our current selection of Hobbymaster, Air Force One, and Gemini Jets collections, we've also taken on a few other manufacturers such as Herpa, In-Flight 200, and Hogan Wings.
All right, Nick, if you could you just list a couple of your favorite aircraft that is coming in 2024 to the model yard?
One of those would definitely be the F-35 mirror coating coming from Hobbymaster, and also a couple of other new releases from Gemini, which include the interactive cargo doors and flaps and bowed up wings. Those really add to the realism of diecast models, and I'm much a fan of those myself.
For me, I would say the exciting planes that I'm looking forward to in 2024 is our latest Cirrus SR22 diecast model. Cirrus is known for their exotic liveries, and this year's model represents that, featuring colors that I'm very much a fan of, and I'm excited to introduce it to you guys. We should have it live on themodelyard.com in the next couple months. Also, coming from Air Force One, there is a new B-17 model that's coming out. It's a 1/72nd scale model, and I think right now with the enthusiasm with Masters of the Air, I think this is the perfect timing for a new B-17 model. Not to mention, it's also one of my favorite models of all time, so I'm a little partial for it.
And I know that you mentioned the B-17 was one of your favorite aircraft of all time, but what are some others of your favorites?
Well, I'm glad you asked. A couple of the aircraft that I still to this day love is the SR-71 Blackbird. And the reason why is there's always been this mysterious stigma about the SR-71, and it's a beautiful aircraft, and ever since I was a child, I've loved the silhouette of the SR-71. I also really enjoy the F-22 Raptor, and I've got to see the Raptor fly many times over the course of my life, and I've never seen a plane literally dance in the air like the F-22 Raptor does. That will be always one of my all-time favorites. And then kind of taking it out of the military a little bit, the DC-3. One of the first airplanes I've got a tour at an air show many years ago, and if you've never walked inside of a DC-3, I highly recommend it. Just walking in and just looking straight up and just happening to walk up that long just incline, it's amazing. Nick, what about you? What's some of your favorite aircraft?
Mine are a lot based around military because those are the things I looked at when I was a kid, especially planes like the Century series, the F-101, the F-104 has always been one of my favorite aircraft. And I also concur with the F-22, that's always been one of my favorites. Ever since I was young and saw the aircraft flying, I witnessed that same dance, and I couldn't look away from it ever again.
You know, it's got me thinking, us talking about airplanes, I'd actually be upset with myself for not mentioning this. But another aircraft that holds a piece of my heart is the Super Connie, especially the TWA. There's just something about the shape, just something about the classic air travel from a different era. I'll sneak in a fourth option on my list, and it would definitely be the Super Connie.
I would say I can concur with that one. It's definitely one of the older classics of its era. You see a lot of people speak about it throughout history. It's just one of those legacy aircraft that everybody knows about and everybody respects.
All right, Nick, so we've talked about the model yard. We've talked about some exciting things coming in 2024. We've talked about our favorite aircraft. Is there any kind of insight you want to give to our customers on just something to do with models that you would like to share?
I'd say definitely looking out for a lot of the specific details that are in some of these models. I've been noticing manufacturers start to cover even a couple of weeks ago, we got the stunning F101 Voodoo from Hobbymaster. And I even noticed on that model that they left the radar warning receiver on the tail and the radar on the nose unpainted, just like they are on the real planes. Paint disturbs radar waves, and therefore they weren't painted on the actual aircraft.
See, that's one thing I love about model collecting is little details like that. It just gets you really excited. I know we've talked about die-cast, we've talked about everything like that, but one thing I'd like to highlight is no matter how advanced we get in models, I really love just the classic old plastic model that you can put together yourself, pull out the decals, put them on wherever you want, and just paint the model in any kind of paint color or any choice of your own. That is something of mine, a memory of mine I will always cherish, and I look forward to actually building more models in the future. What about you, Nick?
I was just going to comment on that as well. That's kind of what makes these things unique and to each and every person. Nobody wants to have the exact same livery, so if somebody puts an extra 1 on the end of their number, that makes the plane completely different from another one. I don't know if you've observed that yourself, but some collectors especially have started to put other decals on their models, especially with kits. They'll go, instead of just taking the livery that's on the outside of the plane, they put a 65 instead of a 63, and bam, it's a new aircraft that might even be located at a museum near them.
All right, Nick, before we go, is there anything about our block models that you'd like to touch on?
Yeah, I'd also like to touch on those because that also comes back to my experience with Legos when I was younger. Those block models are a great step up from little toys that kids would play with when they're younger. Now they can build that aircraft themselves and have a swooshable, nice aircraft that represents the real life thing. And they also make an enjoyable building process for any ages, everything, even adults. I know plenty of people who still build Legos when they're older. These toys still translate to that same hobby and enjoyment, and I'm sure you feel the same way about that as well.
Absolutely. Now that we've touched on our die-cast models, our hobby kits, and our block models, Nick and I have a little message for you guys. For more information,
please visit
themodelyard.com.